Who are the Al-Nusra Front? The term the Al-Nusra Front is a shortened version of the full Arabic name of Jabhat al-Nusra al-Sham, which in English means the front of the supporters of the people of Syria and the Levant, although often in English it's simply referred to as the Al-Nusra Front, that Nusra being the Arabic word for support. They were founded in 2011 as an offshoot of a group that was then called Al-Qaeda in Iraq. It was founded by Abu Muhammad al-Golani, who had been dispatched from across the border in Iraq to make another rebel group to fight against the Syrian regime of Bashar al-Assad at the start of the Syrian Civil War. This group in Iraq would later morph into ISIS, or the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. And so al-Nusra started off as the Syrian branch of the Islamic State. More on that in my video on there. Well, the Al-Nusra Front started with a core of Iraqi fighters. They soon branched out, and many Syrians also flocked to their banner to answer the call of jihad against the Assad regime. In the meantime, they were able to create large revenue due to taxes, tariffs, and fines, which allowed them to finance their fighters and the war effort, so that by 2012, the group made up some of the strongest parts of the coalition that was against Assad, numbering around 6,000 to 10,000 soldiers. They made up around 7 to 9% of the FSA, or Free Syrian Army, that was fighting against the Syrian state. They were also strongly linked to the militant group Al-Qaeda, and by 2012, 57 out of 70 suicide bombings that had taken place in Syria were completed by the Al-Nusra Front, particularly targeting cities like Damascus. This led to the United States confirming them as a terrorist organization. By 2013, however, the relationship with its founder, the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, had soured. As ISIS had gone its own way away from Al-Qaeda, it claimed in 2013 that Al-Nusra would be absorbed into the wider entity of ISIS. However, the leaders of Al-Nusra rejected this claim and reaffirmed their bayat, or oath of loyalty, to the Al-Qaeda leadership, thus creating a split within the group. It should be noted that around 2/3 of the Al-Nusra movement would swear allegiance to Abu Bakr Al-Baghdadi and join the Islamic State, while another third would continue to fight as an independent entity. This group would become known as the Quadat al-Jihad organization in the Levant, or in Arabic, the Tanzim Quadat al-Jihad fi Bilad al-Sham. The split was not entirely peaceful, and in 2014 there were armed struggles between fighters who had remained loyal to Al-Nusra and Al-Qaeda and those of the Islamic State, particularly in the northeast of Syria. Although despite differences on the ground, it should be noted that the Al-Nusra Front also seeks the creation of an Islamic State, although they wish to do this more slowly and by cooperating more fully with other rebels against the Assad regime than the more famous ISIS branch. This being said, the Al-Nusra Front have also at times engaged with other elements within the Free Syrian Army and fought other more secular and jihadist groups in Syria. In 2006, they fought against the Islamist group Ahrar al-Sham in northeastern Syria and took over large parts of their territory. Soon after, several other Islamist groups swore allegiance to Al-Nusra. However, they had also attracted attention of the Russians and were the subject of many Russian airstrikes against them. This was largely because while they were operating under the Free Syrian Army umbrella, they were making the side look bad with their associations to more radical Islamism and in particular to Al-Qaeda. And that's why when the group changed its name to Jabhat al-Sham and announced that it was not affiliated to any external groups, the question arose of whether that included Al-Qaeda and whether this signified a split away from its Al-Qaeda affiliated past. It should be noted that within Al-Nusra there were two large brands of recruit, the one more conservative foreign fighters that were in favor of Al-Qaeda and a larger ground base of those who had been recruited in Syria who saw the overthrow of Assad as the main goal and were therefore more pragmatic in changing their allegiance. In 2017, several factions of Ahrar al-Sham joined the group, and the group was renamed to the HTS, or Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which means the Assembly for the Liberation of the Levant. The group, however, in 2017 suffered several splits as the organization began to fragment somewhat. The group nevertheless in November declared the Syrian Salvation Government, a new entity in the province of Idlib in northwestern Syria, and in 2021 the group still remains active in this area, fighting against the government in a loose coalition of rebels.